Hello everyone, my name is NURHAIZALZULIDZWAN bin FAZYLIE. My ID number is BJJ2407117775. We are from section BE 4.07, conduct by Ms. Atifah.
Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. My name is ASYRANI PUTRI binti JAMRI. My ID is BJJ2407117776.
Hello everyone, my name is Muhammad HAZIQ bin Abdul Rahman. My ID number is BJJ2407117761.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amzah Jazari bin Amnar. ID number BGJ2407117754. I'm from BE 4.07.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Zafar Asfar bin Muhammad Mazlan. I'm from BE 4.07. My ID number is BDJ 2407101126.
So, before we begin, let's talk a little bit about O. Henry, okay? The Gift of Magi was written by O. Henry, whose real name was William Sidney Porter. He lived between 1862 till 1910 and became one of the most famous American short story writers. O. Henry was widely known for his ironic twist endings, where events turned out in unexpected ways. This story was first published in 1905 in the New York Sunday World and later included in his collection, The 4 Million. The story is admired worldwide because it reflects universal values of love, sacrifice, generosity, which are meaningful sacrifice and culture. And today, our group will present an analysis of The Gift of Magi by O. Henry. This story, published in 1905, is one of his most famous works. It carries a timeless message about love and sacrifice. We will cover the story background, plot, setting, characters, conflict, point of view, theme, and literacy devices. Let's begin with the author and the plot.
Now, let us look at the plot. This story is simple yet very powerful, and we can analyze it using Freytag's triangle. On the exposition, at the beginning, we are introduced to Della and Jim, a young married couple living in poverty. Della only has $1.87 to spend for Christmas. She is deeply worried because she wants to buy a meaningful gift for Jim, but she does not have enough money. On rising action, Della decides to sacrifice her most prized possession, her long and beautiful hair. She goes to a hair shop and sells her hair for $20. With this money, she buys a platinum chain for Jim's gold pocket watch, which is his own treasured possession. On climax, on Christmas Eve, Jim comes home from work and sees that Della has cut her hair. He is shocked, and not because he disliked it, but because he has sold his watch to buy a set of combs for Della's hair. On the following action, they both realize that their gifts are now useless. Della cannot use the combs without her long hair, and Jim cannot use the watch chain because he has sold his watch. And on the resolution, even though their material gifts cannot be used, they discover that their love is greater than any possession. Their willingness to sacrifice for each other proves the of their love.
Now that we understand the plot, let's look at the setting and characters.
The story is set on Christmas Eve in the early 19th century. The main location is a small modest apartment in New York City. It is described as being simple and poor, with little furniture and limited money. Even though the physical setting is not luxurious, the emotional atmosphere is filled with love and warmth. Now, let us look at the characters. The first main character is Della. She is a young wife who is deeply devoted to her husband. Della is emotional, caring, and selfless girl. Her long hair is her pride and beauty, but she does not hesitate to sacrifice it in order to buy Jim a gift. This shows her love is stronger than her attachment to material things. The second main character is Jim. Jim is Della's husband. Jim is hardworking, responsible, and equally devoted to his wife. He treasures his gold pocket watch, which is a family heirloom, but he sells it to buy comb for Della. This shows his willingness to give up something valuable for her happiness. Lastly, we have Madame Safroni, the hair shop owner. She is a minor character who is practical and business-minded. So, she buys Della's hair but is not emotional about it. Even though she only appears briefly, she plays an important role in the development of the story because she makes Della's sacrifice possible. These characters together highlight the theme of love and sacrifice. Their interaction reminds us that true wealth lies not in possession, but in relationship. Bye bye.
Next, let us continue with conflicts, point of view, and theme.
Now we're moving to conflicts in the gift of Maggie. There are several conflicts that drive this story forward. The first conflict is an external conflict, which is poverty. Della and Jim both face financial struggles that prevent them from buying expensive gifts for each other. This external problem forces them to make difficult decisions. The second conflict is an internal conflict, especially for Della. She struggles with the decision for selling her hair, which is her greatest pride. In the end, love wins over her personal desire, and she sacrifices it for Jim. There is also a man versus circumstance conflict, where the couple must deal with the limitation of their financial situation. Now we're moving on to the point of view of the story. The point of view of the story is third person limited omniscient. The narrator tells the story from outside but focuses mainly on Della's thoughts, emotions, and experiences. This allows reader to feel her worries, her love, and her sacrifice deeply. Now, for the theme. The central theme of this story is that true love requires sacrifices. The story teaches us that the greatest gifts are not expensive things, but the willingness to give up something valuable for the one you love. It also tells us that love is measured by selflessness, not by money. Overall, the conflict, point of view, and teamwork together to make this story is meaningful and timeless.
Finally, let us look at the literacy devices in the story.
Now, I'll be talking about the literary devices in O. Henry's short story, which is The Gift of Magi, which is the story is one of the most famous Christmas stories because it teaches us about love, sacrifice, and the true meaning of giving. The first device is irony. This story is famous for its irony twist ending. Della sells her hair to buy Jim a chain for his watch, while Jim sells his watch to buy combs for Della's hair. Both gifts become useless since the item is not have any functions anymore. Yet this irony reveals something deeper. Their sacrifices prove that their love is greater than anything. The ending leaves the readers to reflect on what truly matters in the relationships. Move on to the second device, which is symbolism. As we can see, Delas has symbolized of her beauty and her willingness to sacrifice it for her partner to just buy a gift for him. Jim's watch symbolized time, tradition, and loyalty towards Della. And by sharing these symbols, O. Henry showed us that sacrifice what you value most show the true love itself. These symbols remind readers that although we lost our goods, love be more stronger towards each other. Move on to the next one, which is allusion. The title itself, The Gift of the Magi, refers to the biblical story of the wise men who hand a gift to baby Jesus. By comparing Jim and Della to the Magi, O. Henry suggests that their selfless giving is wise and meaningful. This connection makes the story feel universal and timeless, linking a simple tale of two poor lovers to a larger spiritual tradition. The fourth device is foreshadowing. Early in the story, Della is described is crying because can't afford to buy a gift for her partner because short of money. But his foreshadows show the big sacrifice she will make later. The highlight about Della's hair and Jim's watch also hints that this item will become important from the author. These small clues prepare the reader for the twist, making the ending understandable, not confusing, and somehow not hanging for the readers. In conclusion, through irony, symbolism, allusion, and foreshadowing, or we can say the literary devices that being used by the author, O. Henry makes this short story powerful and memorable for the reader. The message is clear from the story, which is the greatest gift we can give is not an object, but the love and sacrifice we show for our partner is the most matter thing in the relationship.
you.